Welcome to episode 58 of our Family Travel Australia series. With Queensland good to go, travelling to the Outback is an absolute must, but are you prepared? This week we answer the big questions around road tripping way out west. What to expect, what to prepare, how to stay safe, and all you need to know to ensure your Outback is the experience of a lifetime. It's time to make Outback Queensland your ultimate road trip. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and join us for all of the adventure.
Outback Queensland, what an incredible experience.
Haven't we had just the best time?
It has been fantastic. But before we set off, we had loads of questions. We had never been as far west as we were planning to go. We were nervous, excited. I won't say fearful, but there were certainly things that we were like, oh, you know, what are we going to expect? How do we prepare? You know, what's it going to be like? And all of those similar questions have come in through our website, also through our YouTube channel, Facebook and socials. And so we thought, let's address them. Let's give you our top 10 categorized questions. We've summarized it all into 10 that we think will absolutely help you if you are thinking of heading to Outback Queensland. A quick disclaimer, we're certainly not experts.
No.
I like to tell Kate I am sometimes. But this is really come about from our experience and then talking to other travellers and what they experienced and us really sharing with you what we have learned. So
our top tips.
Yeah, make sure you do your own research though.
Yes.
I mean, there's so much information online. The main thing that we're here to share with you today is get excited, don't be fearful. Make a plan and do it.
Oh, this region is so worth visiting.
It's incredible. All right, here we go. Number 1, what to expect.
The Outback is incredible. Expect lots of red dirt, wide open spaces, vast epic landscapes,
Wow.
kilometres and kilometres of unchanging scenery, but some of the most incredible environments that you can immerse yourself within. We have loved exploring the natural side of the Outback, haven't we?
Do you know, I love that. The space is epic. And I think that was one thing that surprised me the most was that it is hundreds of kilometres between destination points.
Absolutely.
So be prepared for that, I think.
Yeah, that's great. And with that kind of environment comes the most incredible sunsets. Haven't
Wow.
they been amazing?
It is truly what you see in the movies. You know, it is these rich, red, ever-changing contrast of colours through the sunsets that are breathtaking. All right, number 2, what to prepare for before you leave home.
It's the same as any road trip. You definitely want to be prepared to avoid unforeseen situations or circumstances.
Yeah, the biggest difference really is the vast distance. Like if you're travelling down the east coast, you're generally going to be within 50 kilometres of a service centre or something that can get you out of trouble or help you if you are in trouble. Whereas in the Outback, I think you have to prepare for a good couple of 100 kilometres for a service in some instances. So making sure that your vehicle is absolutely had its service, is up to date, that your spare tyres are right, that you've got plenty of water on board is another thing.
Great points. Also, being prepared by having a map or having your apps and knowing your destinations and the travel kilometres between those is also a really great idea. You are definitely doing longer stretches between towns, and some of the small towns may not even have a petrol station, as you mentioned, Paul.
Well, we thought we had to have a long-range fuel tank before we left. Not necessary. It really isn't. Even with the tow vehicle and us chewing up more petrol, say, than in a normal sedan. However, we do carry 2 20-litre diesel jerry cans on board. One of them primarily was for the diesel heater to make sure we never got frozen when we were in Tassie, and the other one was a backup plan. So having a backup plan is a great idea, but it isn't an absolute necessity. All right, number 3. do I need a four-wheel drive to access Outback Queensland?
Definitely not. The major highways are all bitumen roads and are generally in fairly good condition.
Yeah, look, I mean, having a tow vehicle and a four-wheel drive, like what we're experiencing is, would be the ideal setup if this is the kind of adventure you want. But you can certainly come out here if you don't have an RV in a sedan. As Katie said, the roads are very well maintained and well managed. And the only real part of it is when you start to get off the beaten track. For instance, going to Lark Quarry, 120, 130 kilometres of predominantly corrugated roads. We saw people that were out there in Hyundais and all sorts of things that weren't four-wheel drives, and they coped, but I would think that would be a fairly uncomfortable ride.
Yeah.
So four-wheel drives, good idea, but not a must. All right, number 4. Are the roads safe?
Oh, we learnt so many great tips and pieces of information around this topic.
Okay, yes, the roads are safe. However, there are definitely some other factors that you wouldn't normally get travelling on the main freeways along the coastal regions of Australia.
The road trains, for instance.
They are as epic as a landscape. I mean, 53 metres is one of the signs that it gives you a warning. For this reason, it is really important that if you are travelling in convoy or you are even following another caravan or an RV, to leave 200 metres. Okay, don't travel too closely, and that's actually a law in Queensland.
Yeah.
And that really is to allow for overtaking and passing safely when it is safe to do so. The other thing too is to carry a UHF radio. The traffic channel there is channel 40, and it's a really great idea. That way truckies, if they're coming up behind you, can call you on the radio, say, hey, is it safe to pass, or I'm gonna pass you, or whatever it is, and you can really maintain your speed, maintain your line, and let that happen safely. So that's a good tip as well.
Great idea. The other consideration out here in the outback is the wildlife. There is an abundance of native wildlife out here. We have seen so many emus, which has been incredible.
Yeah.
Hundreds, thousands of kangaroos. And these are animals that like to come out between the dusk and dawn hours and at night time as well. So if you can avoid driving at these times, it makes for a much safer experience. However, if you do have to drive during dusk or dawn or at night time, some good tips are to definitely slow down.
Yeah.
It's not a race. You don't want to be driving fast on these roads. And where you can, keep your lights off high beam, particularly with kangaroos. If you're driving with your high beam on, then it is going to attract that wildlife, and the last thing you want is to have an encounter with wildlife.
Yeah, that is great points. We would basically say don't drive at night. I mean, if you can prevent it, then don't do it. Yeah, great idea. Another good point with the wildlife is that when there is roadkill, the carrion, as it's called, on the road, and there is plenty of it, although with the drought, we felt there was noticeably a lot less roadkill. However, the bird life and the birds of prey do see this as an easy meal. So particularly with the larger birds, wedge-tailed eagles, once they've taloned onto some of those heavier prey items, it takes them a little longer to get off it. So bip your horn, slow down, give them a chance to get off the road. Otherwise, your chances of hitting them as they're trying to get away is pretty high. So that's just a good tip.
Absolutely. The other thing you can do is check ahead the road conditions of the route that you are travelling, and that visitor information centres, again, a wealth of knowledge, and they'll be able to give you the best advice on the roads. And the Queensland Government also has a traffic information website as well that will pop the details down below.
All right, number 5. Will I have phone service, and how do I communicate in the outback?
Well, before we set off travelling over a year ago, we decided it would be a smart idea to have one of our phones with Telstra, and the other phone was with Optus. And we've had this little battle of the carriers as we've been tripping around Australia.
I'm on Telstra, Katie's on Optus. Interesting thing, when we got to Tassie, which has Telstra towers everywhere, my service was average.
Yes,
at best.
Our Optus kicked your Telstra butt.
It did.
Anyway, out here in the Outback, it is predominantly Telstra. So that meant when we were in Winton, I had absolutely no Optus phone service at all. If you don't have phone service, or you know you're not going to, again, it's a great idea to have something like the UHF radio, whereas you can at least communicate that way with other people, other travellers. You see the stickers on the back of their caravans, so you know
how to communicate with them and who's on board.
Yeah.
Great idea. The other thing too is when you get out to some of these remote attractions like Lark's Quarry, Opalton, they have recently put in little Telstra hubs that give you kind of like a 5 kilometre radius. So as far as, I don't want to go out there if I get stuck, I haven't got service, you can actually go out to these places and you can feel, I guess, much safer.
Absolutely.
That you can actually still communicate. Also, getting into Winton, just so that Katie stopped hassling me about, can you please turn your Wi-Fi on, is that we got a prepaid Telstra SIM card just at the post office in town, which was great.
Absolutely, yeah, fantastic, which meant that we could still work and do whatever we needed to do. So don't worry too much about your phone service. If you're with Optus, then hooking up with Telstra is easy.
Another thing that we will look into, and we can't comment on really because we don't have this experience yet, is a personal EPIRB, a beacon of some kind, personal beacon, something that is really gives you an option to still stay connected when you are very remote.
Great idea.
Now, we didn't do that this time. I think we will invest in one of these, and I'll do a little piece on that in an upcoming episode once we've got that on board, because we do plan to go even further remote and really get out there and get amongst it. But having a young family on board, if something were to go wrong, knowing that you had that definite connection to someone to help you in that time of need, I think would be pretty important. So.
Yeah, look, and there's a couple of other really good tips here. If you are headed off the beaten track, let someone know where you're going and when you plan to be back. That's always a really good fail-safe.
Great idea.
And the other thing is there's a fantastic app. We have spoken about it before. It's called Emergency Plus. You download this free app, it will give you your exact coordinates no matter where you are, and you can actually dial emergency services through that app if you need to. So that's another great one of knowing exactly where you are in a particularly remote location.
Yes, that is a great tip. Okay, number 6, what are the weather conditions?
The most popular times to travel to Outback Queensland seem to be between March and October.
Yeah.
It's much cooler, and the average maximum temperatures are between 25 to 35 degrees Celsius. If you are travelling out here over summer, you can expect temperatures of 35 to 40 degrees or even
50 degrees.
higher. Absolutely.
Yeah, we spoke to some of the station owners that are west of Winton, and they said, 48, 50 degree days are certainly a regular occurrence the further you get out west.
Yeah, definitely. As far as rain goes, summer is also considered the wet season. However, look, we experienced some beautiful rain while we were in Winton.
Yeah, like 3 nights during a 2-week period of what was referred to as unseasonal rain. And plenty of it. I mean, even driving back out of Winton, back towards Longreach, we saw a noticeable change in the landscape and the ground cover, and the side of the road was a lot greener and just starting to pop, and noticeably a lot more roadkill on the way out. I don't know, we guessed because there was just more water available by the side of the road.
Yeah.
Okay, number 7. What should we pack?
As with any road trip, it's a great idea to pack essentials. A really good toolkit, spare water.
First aid kit.
First aid kit, definitely.
The packing app that we've mentioned before is a great tool.
Yeah.
I mean, we love checklists, so I think I'll put the packing list app details there in the description below, but anything like that, there's plenty of them out there. is a great idea to make sure that you don't miss anything. It isn't so remote that you can't pick up stuff on the way. I mean, it really is fine. However, just be prepared for a 20 to 30% price hike, just because of the location, I guess, and getting those transport vehicles to deliver it out there. There's some extra expenses that come with that.
Great idea. If you're traveling with children of any age, be sure to pack plenty of road trip snacks, because it can be quite a few hours between pit stops. And
for the big kids as well.
Yeah.
Always a couple of Kit Kats is a good idea.
Yeah. Also, I mean, of course, sun smart clothing, and if you're not a fan of bugs, it is a good idea to also have some fly nets or something like that, because the flies can fluctuate. Thankfully, we haven't experienced
fluctuating flies.
We haven't experienced them too bad, although our trip to Australian Age of Dinosaurs, I did happen to swallow a few, didn't I?
Fantastic. One particular fly that shall never fly again. That we caught on camera. That was fun.
Hey, the other thing to make sure that you've got is also just a small amount of cash. Even, you know, if you're not used to traveling with cash, it is a good idea out here, because some of these little towns may not have card or EFTPOS facilities available.
Or service may have dropped out. Yeah, honestly, a couple $100 cash, I think that's about all you'll need. Would get you pretty well out of strife. So, good tip. All right, number 8. How much time do I need?
The ultimate question. How much time do you have? As much as possible. And really, you can outback anyway. So if you've got all the time in the world, slow down. Take the time. We got to Winton and thought that we'd only have a few days, and then just very quickly decided we needed to stay and enjoy it for a couple of weeks.
That's a good point. Charleville, Tambo, Becolden, Longreach, we didn't explore at all.
No, well, not yet.
No, and it was really because we had a timeline of where we thought we needed to be and what we were expecting. I think we didn't expect that there would be so much on offer. And now that we know, we can't wait. We could spend 3 or 4 days in Longreach, 3 or 4 days in Becolden, 3 or 4 days in Charleville, etc., Tambo. I mean, it is endless. And all of these places have their own stories, their own storytellers, and they are worth stopping and spending some time in. So we've got a lot more outback ahead of us, I think.
Yeah. Look, if you are limited on time, you're getting away for the school holidays, or you know you've got a few weeks to explore, pick a few places. Do not try and do it all, because you absolutely can't. Outback Queensland is huge. It's broken into different regions, you know, the west, the north, for example, the south. Pick a few places and do those places well, and make sure that you are slowing down and taking the time, because you can come back again and again and again to explore all the other places.
We have fallen in love with Outback Queensland, and so there will be plenty more trips for us to get out here and explore further afield. I mean, Richmond, Ewendon, it's endless. How many? The Min Min lights. Yeah, that's exciting. Google that and have a look. All right, number 9. What is there to do?
There is so much to do, and you can really pick and choose your own adventure. I mean, if you are into everything natural, then you are going to absolutely love Outback Queensland. The landscapes, there's national parks, there's incredible vistas. I mean, we have walked through ancient crevices that have been carved out by the water and the wind from the rock formations. We have stood up on jump ups and watched the most spectacular sunsets. There is an abundance of wildlife. I mean, there is so much to do when it comes to the natural side of things, and then
the history, obviously, and the cultural history, as much as the post-settlement history, and then just the true characters, the people that are living and breathing Outback Queensland. It's just so rich in stories, and that's what we've loved most about it.
Definitely. And of course, there are so many incredible world-class tourism offerings out here.
Hasn't that been a surprise? I don't know what I expected. I didn't expect it to be of such a standard that you walk away from some of these and just go, wow.
Yeah.
That is world class. That is amazing.
There is something for everybody out here, and every single member of the family, be it the littlest people to the most mature of us, you will absolutely love Outback Queensland.
All right, number 10. Is it safe to travel with kids, and will I feel safe?
Absolutely, yes. Outback Queensland is an awesome destination to travel with kids of any age, but as with any road trip, preparation is key. So knowing what to expect, packing the right things is definitely going to avoid any situations that you don't want to find yourself in.
That's right. We've had lots of questions around, should I do a first aid course? Yeah, I think if one of you can go and do a first aid course, great idea. Particularly if you can do one around, snake bites and, dealing with wildlife and dealing with, even road accidents and things that you might come across. I think being able to assist yourself or someone else who's in desperate need is a really good idea. If you can get, what is a day's training and pretty inexpensive, go and do it. Having the right first aid kit, I think, is really important.
Yes.
We learnt that 96% of people that are bitten by a snake are either trying to catch or kill it. So don't try and catch or kill snakes.
And interestingly, we have not seen a single snake on our travels so far.
Oh, hang on. We saw one in Tassie. Remember that?
We did too.
We saw one at Stanley.
Yes.
At the Nut.
Yes, we did.
Besides that snake.
We
We've
certainly
not
haven't seen a
single
snake. No, not out here in the outback anyway. And of course they are out here, but respecting them will go a long way.
That's it. Australia has all these animals that can kill you. 10 of the world's deadliest snakes. A lot of those are found in Outback Queensland. We haven't seen one. Don't fear them. Do respect them. I think that's pretty well it.
And teach your children, if you are travelling as a family, teach your children the lessons about wildlife, Stomp your feet, let them know that you are in the area and stay away from them. It's really, really simple education that can absolutely save lives. Yeah,
look, the other part of the wildlife factor is really driving. We had a close call with a kangaroo, and we had Katie, driving, had a close call with an emu.
That was amazing. He literally ran straight across the road.
It was like watching the Roadrunner, wasn't it? But because we were travelling under the speed limit, taking it easy, we've been told, don't swerve, things like that. In both instances, we both managed it well. Yeah, so I think it's just really being aware and taking your time is important, and being prepared.
Yeah, definitely. And if you can, travelling with another group is a great idea as well. We've met loads of families who have been out travelling, particularly during the school holidays, who, get together and travel in convoy, and just, there is something about feeling safe in numbers as well. So that if that, makes you feel more secure, then that is a great way to do it.
Yeah, I think at some point we will do a version of that. At the moment we've been travelling solo and we're loving that. But I can certainly see on some of those drives, on those long, 300, 400 kilometre drives between destinations, being part of a team is a great idea.
Yeah. And the other thing that is absolutely noticeable out here are the people. The friendly faces, the people who will come to your rescue if you do find yourself bogged on the side of the road, or, stuck somewhere in between towns.
It's a true Aussie character, but it's true Aussie spirit. Yeah, and look, we've found that everywhere, whether we've been on the coast or the outback. I think the accents are a little stronger in Outback Queensland. The smiles are definitely huge, and, these friendly faces that are weathered and full of stories. I've loved that. Yeah. All right, so there you are. There's our top 10 questions that we certainly had and have been asked of us during this last few weeks. We will create a PDF. I say we, I mean Kate. That will be a free downloadable item on our website. Those details are below. And on our website, again, you can find loads of other resources, all of our cooking recipes, our Go RV magazine articles, our podcast, everything is housed there. So make sure you check that out as well.
Outback Queensland, definitely put it on your must visit list. Make a plan, make it happen.
Great advice. All right, well, thank you so much again for joining us. If you haven't already, do subscribe, check out our website, look after yourself, look after your family.
Happy trails.
Thanks for watching. Please do like, subscribe and share our channel. And if you'd like more information on full-time RV travel and living, visit our website, thefeelgoodfamily.com.au. There you'll find loads of free resources, our weekly podcast, caravan cooking recipes, our monthly Go RV magazine articles and much more. We look forward to seeing you next week. Take care of yourself and your family and happy trails.